It happens. I have disappointed people more times than I want to count. So it happens. And so there is another thing that we want to be mindful of, and it's hard to be mindful of it because you don't want to be. But there are people in your orbit who want to keep you in that pattern of struggle. They want to compartmentalize you to that compartment of struggle and failure and hardship and that up and down trajectory that never seems to move anywhere but up and down and doesn't maintain itself up. There are people who are comfortable with you when that is your reality. But when that trajectory starts to go up and stay there, those people become uncomfortable because they can no longer see themselves as your knight in shining armor or someone that can give you advice because you're constantly needing their help. Or I know that may sound harsh, but that is true. And you will want to be mindful of that because not only will you know what to quit and when to quit, you'll need to know who to quit. So this book, The Dip by Seth Godin, that Pastor Bernard referenced, talked about this overcomer and this pusher, the person that pushes through and the person that overcomes. And to me, you have to overcome. And I think he said this. I think he did. You have to push to overcome. It's logical. But again, it is critical that you are reflective, responsive, and resilient. And when you are reflective, you will know how to respond. And when you respond, I promise you, you're going to need to be resilient. And so that is really the gist of what it is that I wanted to say. And in this pandemic, I have released one book. 2 are soon to be released. I have given birth to a nonprofit. Definitely God breathed. And so much of it is happening, boom, boom, boom. It's happening one thing right after another. And maybe that doesn't look logical to people. It's like you just put the one book out. Now you got the other one coming. And then you're talking about another one. And you started a nonprofit. Like all of this is going on. But here's the thing about a time to rend that which has been sown. This journey for me of writing books, as I have mentioned, started in 1996. This is not a new thing under the sun for me. But what is happening is that the manifestation of that journey and all of the seed that I have sown is now being plucked up. And so the timing of that in which I am giving birth to has incubated as long as it needed to. And that hand that is starting to fit like a glove, or was starting to fit like a glove, before it was one finger in at a time, and now the whole hand fits the glove. And that is a process of growth and development, not in and of myself. I am telling you that it is a God thing for me. And it is done through prayer. It is done through meditation. It is done through resilience and pressing in and pushing through all of the obstacles that I have encountered. Heck, all of the obstacles I started out with and those that I created. Some of the obstacles were not of my doing, and some of the obstacles I created. A lot of them I created. Challenges I created, because in my haste, I would run ahead of God. I would do something just because the thought popped in my head or even in my heart. And then I would go straight out the gate and try to do it. That's not how it works. You have to pray through that thing. You have to meditate through that thing. And you have to take the journey through a thing. And so that's really all that I want to say. And when God says, pull the trigger, it is time to pluck up that which you have sown. Pull it. But when he says this is sowing time, sow it. When he says this is giving time, give it. When he says this is praying time, pray. When he says this is meditation time, meditate. But do not move ahead of the unction of God. And you can go where you want to go in terms of what you believe and how you believe it and who you believe in. That is not my point here today. But believe me, that a thing that is birthed in you is something that is greater than you, and it is purpose for you because of the life that you have walked through, your journey, your thing, your purpose. You are the only one that can do it. And so when God says, pull the trigger, pull the trigger. And when he says, pull back, pull back. And so, just for example, one commandment is a result of my journey. It is not a result of some thought that popped in my head. I did not prematurely jump out in front of the unction for it to exist. God's birthed that thing through my entire journey. And the day would happen where he spoke to me and said, pull the trigger. The people that I have met that have endured this experience, that is the purpose of One Commandment Corp. I've met women who are experiencing the experience that I had. Yes, I had the experience. Hidden homelessness, a stint of hiding the fact that I was homeless. Yep, that's a reality. So One Commandment is birthed out of my journey. And that's how purpose is realized. You may not believe it while you're going through it, but that's how your purpose is realized. That's how that thing which is being incubated inside of you eventually is birthed. So, my message to you is to reflect, respond, and then be resilient. Be well, my friends. Thanks for listening. See you next time at Christy's Place.